vai puman pasyati nanyada. I was always taught in the third line that when there's a Y, you join that onto the second word, sat yashaya. Atmanam indriyatam cha param yadu bayo api sat yashaya upadho vai puman pasyati nanyada atmanam indriyatam cha param yad ubayo api sat yashaya upadho vai puman pasyati nanyada atam cha. Thank you. Sadyashaya upadova puman pasyati nanyada atmanatmiratam cha param yadu payo api satyashaya upadova puman pasyati nanyada. Mataji's. You sit over here. Ladies, sit that side. Atmanam, the soul. Indriya atam, for sense gratification. Cha, end. Param, transcendental. Yat, that. Ubayo, both. Api, certainly. Sati, being situated. Asaye, material desires. Upado, designation. Vai, certainly. Puman, the person. Pasyati, sees. Na anyada, not otherwise. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. When the soul exists for sense gratification, he creates different desires. And for that reason, he becomes subjected to designations. But when one is in the transcendental position, he is no longer interested in anything except fulfilling the desires of the Lord. Translation, please repeat. When the soul exists for sense gratification, he creates different desires. And for that reason, he becomes subjected to designations. But when one is in the transcendental position, he is no longer interested in anything except fulfilling the desires of the Lord. Purport. Being covered by material desires, the spirit soul is also considered to be covered by designations belonging to a particular type of body. Thus he considers himself an animal, man, demigod, bird, beast, etc. In so many ways, he is influenced by false identification caused by false egotism. And being covered by illusory material desires, he distinguishes between matter and spirit. When one is devoid of such distinctions, there is no longer a difference between matter and spirit. At that time, the spirit is the only predominating factor. As long as one is covered by material desires, he thinks himself the master or the enjoyer. Thus he acts for sense gratification and becomes subjected to material pangs, happiness and distress. But when one is freed from such a concept of life, he is no longer subjected to designations, and he envisions everything as spiritual in connection with the Supreme Lord. This is explained by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.255. Anashaktasya vishayan yataham upayunjataha nibandha krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchite. The liberated person has no attachment for anything material or for sense gratification. He understands that everything is connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that everything should be engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore he does not give up anything. There is no question of renouncing anything, because the Paramahamsa knows how to engage everything in the service of the Lord. Originally everything is spiritual, nothing is material. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 8.274, also it is explained that a Mahabhagavat, a highly advanced devotee, has no material vision. Stavara jangama deke na deke taramurti Savatrahaya nija Stavara jangama deke na deki taramurti Savatrahaya nija istadeva spurti. Although he sees trees, mountains and other living entities moving here and there, he sees all as the creation of the Supreme Lord. And with reference to the context, sees only the creator and not the created. In other words, he no longer distinguishes between the creator, the created, and the creator. He sees only the Supreme Personality of Godhead in everything. He sees Krishna in everything and everything in Krishna. This is oneness. Translation: when the soul exists for sense gratification, he creates different desires, and for that reason he becomes subjected to designations. But when one is in the transcendental position, he is no longer interested in anything except fulfilling the desires of the Lord. Om Ajnana Timandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshom Malatam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karati Vachalam Bhangam Langate Garim Yatkripatam Maham Vande Shri Gurum Dyanataranam Nasar Presho Bhadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Slokti Bhakti Bhavati Nastaki Narayana Namaskricha Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devam Sarasetim Vyasam Tato Jayam Uderiyat. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class. Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam class. Ki Jai. So by the mercy of all Vaishnavas and Srila Prabhupada, Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Gauranitai, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra, we can say some words to inspire the devotees listening online as well. Hare Krishna out there. So it very sums up everything, the difference between the materialist and the spiritualist. So basically the materialistic person is only interested in his own selfish desires. He's come to this material world because he doesn't want to serve Krishna anymore. As soon as one becomes envious of Krishna in the spiritual world, he immediately falls from the spiritual world to this material world, where he can live out his dream of being the enjoyer, the controller. And as Srila Prabhupada says, every living entity in this world is thinking to a lesser or greater degree that they are God. This is the last snare of material existence to think that one is God or the next incarnation. Apparently in India, practically every street corner, you go, there's someone claiming to be the next incarnation of Krishna. So even we know in the Krishna book, who was it? What was his name? Who put 4 arms on? Pundrika. He even adopted 2 extra arms to imitate Vishnu. And, he had a false Kastuba gem and, wore false, yellow dhoti and had a peacock feather, And when Krishna came along and saw this rascal impersonator, he was just laughing his head off. And, Pundraka was stating to Krishna, I will send you to the abode of death to be punished by Yamaraj. I am the real Supreme Personality of Godhead. I've incarnated out of my causeless compassion on the fallen conditioned souls. But Krishna very quickly fought him and chopped his head off. So in those days there was some very big demons when Krishna was on the planet. And Krishna comes to Paritrana saranam vinashaya chaduskritam dhammasam stapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna comes to protect the pious, the devotees, and to annihilate the miscreants, the demons, and to restore religious principles. But in Kali Yuga, everyone practically is a demon. Practically 99% of the population are jagais and madais, addicted to woman hunting, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex like this. Of course, there's the out and out atheists, and there's also the innocent demons, people who do not know that these activities are demoniac, just due to bad association and being misled by their parents and by the government, by the teachers and the institutions. They've taken up these demoniac ways. So a devotee, he distinguishes between 4 classes of people: Ishvare tadhi nishu balasyeshu disatsucha prema maitri kupopeksha yakaroti samajjima. The Majjhimadhikari, who's the preacher, he sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his highest object of worship and love. He is merciful to the innocent. He makes friends with the devotees, and he avoids those who are envious by nature. So even though many people are acting on the demoniac platform, practically everyone in Kali Yuga, still most of them are innocent. They're just a few out and out demons. And the innocent people can be gradually brought about to Krishna consciousness. If there was hope for Jagai and Madai, they were the epitome of all sinful rascals for Kali Yuga. Murderers, woman hunters, rapists, thieves, drunkards. If even they were delivered by the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, then anyone in this age is qualified to be delivered. So, without Krishna consciousness, then one naturally is full of material desires, because he's born into ignorance in this world, and he's misled by so many so-called leaders, and so naturally he just, without knowledge and realization of the spiritual path and his eternal connection with Krishna, then naturally, automatically he takes to the materialistic path. So we shouldn't be surprised that people are very caught up in materialistic desires and material qualities and distinctions, as this verse points out. So many distinctions people have. Upadhis. I'm Australian, Indian, Chinese, black and white, Christian, Hindu. I'm a dog, I'm a cat, I'm a demigod. I'm a young person, an old person, a woman, man. Everyone practically is identifying with these misconceptions of life. Can we find practically one person who's not misidentifying with these false labels? Who in any education system has ever heard that you're not this body? Did you ever get taught at school or university that you're not this body? You're not the mind, you're not the material intelligence. You're the pure spirit soul. You're eternally part and parcel loving servant of God, of Krishna. Did anyone hear that at university? The topmost, what are some of the big universities in America? Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Oxford University in London, Sydney University. Prabhupada said, where is the university around the world, these so-called big institutions for learning, which teaches the science of the soul? But this is the most important knowledge. Without the science of the soul, understanding that we're a spirit soul completely separate from the body, and we belong in the spiritual world, that's our original home, and we're in this temporary abode, and we can't be happy by sense gratification. Where is the institution teaching this knowledge? People are thinking they can be successful and totally happy and totally fulfilled and free from anxiety in this material world. But where do we find a person who's free from anxiety or so-called successful? Their success is only temporary material gain, which is all taken away at the time of death. Because we're out of our eternal nature, we're like the fish out of water. Simple example, but very poignant. You take a fish, you put him on a beach, you give him the nicest deck chair, you even give him a house with a waterbed and a female fish to sleep with, and a Rolls Royce and a chauffeur and a 10-course meal of prasadam food offered to Krishna. Is the fish going to be happy? No, in a few moments he'll die. But if you just plonk him back in the water, he's very happy and satisfied, materially speaking. So we're like that fish. There's no question of being happy on the material platform. But in Krishna consciousness, even in the material world, we can be totally happy, not just happy, but ecstatic 24 hours a day in Krishna consciousness, even though we have a material body, a material mind, material senses, and material body, even for the devotees, we have a material body that's growing old and will die and will get disease and old age. But still, like Srila Prabhupada, perfect example, even in his old age, and he had different ailments with his body, he was perfectly Krishna conscious and perfectly ecstatic all the time. So this verse Prabhupada quoted yesterday in the purport, Iha yasha kale dashe, what is it? Iha yasha hare dashe, kamana manasa gira, nikalas vapyavastasu, jivan muktasa uchate. A person who has engaged his mind, his words, his activities in the service of the Lord is considered a liberated soul, even while living in this material world, in this material body. He doesn't see anything as material. He sees everything as spiritual, as Prabhupada explained in this purport. Devotee comes to this platform where he sees Krishna everywhere. He sees everything in Krishna. Sees everything belongs to Krishna. Everything's the property of Krishna. Everything's to be used for Krishna's glorification. Just like when we see, say, Ganesham Prabhu's shoes outside the temple. We may not see him presently at the moment. He has some other service, but we see his shoes. Automatically we're reminded of his form, his personality, his wonderful leadership, his qualities like that, his dedication to Krishna. So similarly, when a devotee sees anything in material nature, trees, rivers, mountains, the sun, the moon, stars, he automatically thinks of the form of Krishna and thinks this all belongs to Krishna. And Krishna is manifest everywhere, in every atom, in every living being's heart. My youngest daughter, I did this with my other kids too, but when they were young, but my youngest daughter's only 5.5. And I'm always saying to her, whose mountains are these, Radhika? She says, Krishna's mountains. Whose sky? Krishna's sky. Whose road? Krishna's road. Whose buildings? Krishna's buildings. Whose animals are these? Whose cows are these, Radhika? Krishna's cows, like that. So it's nice way to not only remind ourselves, but remind even a young child that everything belongs to Krishna. Ishvasham idam savam yatkincha jagam jagjam jagat tena chaktena bunchita Margarita Kasasvidinam. Everything animate and inanimate that is within the world or the creation is owned and controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. One should accept only things that are set aside as a quota for himself and not accept other things knowing well to whom they belong. So this is a great science, the greatest science. There's so many so-called scientists and philosophers in this age of Kali, but they're all rascals. Prabhupada said they're all cheaters and rascals. And Prabhupada said we should kick them in the head. And the devotees were saying, yes, preferably with a steel cap boot, Srila Prabhupada. So they're all preaching such nonsense, so proud of their material science and philosophy, but they have no understanding of who they are, where they're going to at the time of death, what's their destination beyond this life. And Prabhupada says they don't even care. They don't even care. They're not even fearful of death. Many people, we're preaching and they'll say, when I get old, I'll take interest in God or spiritual life, There's one story of I'm not sure where the story came from, but I heard it as a young devotee that one man was on his deathbed and he stopped speaking. And all the children were saying to the doctors, can you somehow give him some medicine or an injection to make him speak again? They were just thinking so the father can tell them where the wealth is, And so the doctor gives an injection, and the old man, he just says, don't forget to, look after pay the bills and keep the house tidy and clean and look after the animals on the farm. So because he hadn't been trained in Krishna consciousness and spiritual life, that's what he was thinking at the time of death. And the children, because they hadn't been trained, they weren't thinking how to benefit this person by doing kirtan and reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita to him to give him the ultimate benefit, to help him go back to Godhead. But they were thinking, how can we get his money and his wealth and possessions? So no one in this material world practically knows how to give anyone else the ultimate benefit. Even the big leaders in society, what are they doing to help the masses in perfecting their lives and achieving the ultimate goal? They're just exploiting the citizens for their own selfish desires and to fill their pockets. So a very lamentable situation. The leaders, like Maharaj Prithu, great kings, Rajashis, not only great kings, but saintly personalities who understood the conclusions of the scriptures, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vidaischa save aham eva veja vedantavit evit. How's it go? Vedantavit vedavit evachaham. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the knower of the Vedas and I am the compiler of the Vedas. So this is the conclusion of all the scriptures, that one should understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and all other living beings are his servants. And the goal of life is to worship and love Krishna under the direction of the spiritual master and the previous acharyas. Everything that we understand in Krishna consciousness is through the three checking points: Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Guru, the spiritual master; Sadhu, the saintly devotees; and Shastra, the Shastras. So we can understand everything. We can become a fully realized Krishna conscious soul, even though we've become so fallen in this material world in one lifetime. We can become fully Krishna conscious by taking the instructions of the spiritual master to heart, hearing constantly from the spiritual master, from saintly devotees, hearing the scriptures, attending the Bhagavatam classes, hearing kirtan, performing a variety of services for the pleasure of their lordships, spreading Krishna consciousness. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating. When you have a nice pudding, like a nice halva, you're very hungry, just by eating, automatically you experience pleasure, nourishment, and freedom from hunger. This is stated in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhakti parishana bhava virakti anyatra chaisha trika ekakala. That devotion to Krishna, transcendental knowledge of Krishna, and detachment from material activities and desires that take one away from the path of Krishna consciousness, these things come automatically with every step we take in devotional service to Krishna. Just as when you're hungry, automatically by eating a nice meal of prasadam, you feel pleasure, nourishment, and freedom from hunger. Tusti pushti shud apayo nagasham. So one doesn't need to be told that, oh, now you're satisfied by eating a nice meal, or now you're becoming Krishna conscious by performing devotional service. It's automatic. Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jnana Yasya Vairagyam Jnanam Chaya Dahaitikam. In the Bhagavatam it states, second canto, that, or maybe it's the first canto, forgot, but it says, by rendering devotional service to Krishna, one automatically acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So unless one comes to this platform of developing transcendental knowledge and becomes detached from the path of the temporary path of sense gratification, then one cannot get free from this path of materialistic desires and material pursuits. One has to have the higher taste. Param drisva nivartate. And that's achieved by the process of devotional service. The secret is just bhakti, rendering service to Krishna with love, doing everything with love. Whether it's chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Or trying to chant with love. Oh my Lord, O most beautiful Lord Krishna, O energy of the Lord, please engage me in your loving devotional service. We're begging the Lord to please give us some service for his pleasure and to spread his glories. When we cook for the deities, we dress the deities, we clean the temple, we go out preaching, it's all for the pleasure of Krishna. We should do it with tinged with love. Of course, devotional service is so powerful that even if we're not performing devotional service without this loving mood, even if we have, we're doing devotional service with material motivation, still there's immense benefit. As I quoted that verse yesterday, that even if you chant Hare Krishna for entertainment or jokingly or derisively, some people out in Sankirtan, they're criticizing like, oh, those Hare Krishnas, they're like, they're wasting their human form of life. They're like, look at them, just like giving up all the pleasures of life, giving up meat eating, intoxication. Just, they're missing out, those Hare Krishnas. So still, these people are getting immense benefit, freedom from all their past sinful activity. But very hard to turn materialistic people around. That's why Prabhupada said, no, people are very fallen in Kali Yuga, they're practically dead. In Kali Yuga, in previous ages, there was just a few demons, and Krishna came to kill the demons. But in this age, because everyone is a demon, then Lord Chaitanya's come as Patita Pavana, the most merciful incarnation, where he doesn't kill them outright, but he kills their demoniac spirit. Just like Lord Chaitanya was about to kill Jagai and Madhai with his Sudarshan chakra for offending Lord Nityananda with a broken piece of clay pot hitting him in the head, and Lord Nityananda was profusely bleeding. But Lord Nityananda pleaded with Lord Chaitanya, if you kill them, you'll have to kill everyone in Kali Yuga. So they were forgiven and they became the greatest devotees, preachers of the Lord. So Prabhupada says in one lecture that people are practically dead in Kali Yuga, spiritually dead. But we have to go around and try and drop a few drops of nectar on these dead personalities to revive their spiritual consciousness. And we have to apply the hospital rule, like the doctors on the battlefields, the medics, they don't tend to those who are going to die, they only tend to those who have a chance for survival. Because if they try and save everyone, try and save the soldiers who are about to die, they will die anyway, and those who had a chance of surviving will die also. So in preaching Krishna consciousness, we give Krishna consciousness to those who have a chance of surviving, coming to Krishna consciousness. Those who are very atheistic, then Hare Krishna, have a nice day. Like Sankirtan boys up north, when they go out, if people don't stop to even have a look at the book, the devotees say, "Oh, can you say Hare Krishna?" And some of the people say Hare Krishna as they're walking past. So in some way we can benefit all living entities. That's the wonderful glory of the Yuga Dharma, the Harinam Sankirtan. Even many people, they don't take books. Many people, they won't stop and take prasadam, even talk with devotees. But if there's some loud Harinam Sankirtan going on with the Sankirtan party, along with the book distributors, then people are getting immersed in this ocean of transcendental benefit. Without their unknowingly performing devotional service, agyata sukriti. Unknowingly they're performing such wonderful devotional service. But still, Prabhupada said we have to immerse people in gallons and gallons of the mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. They need immersing in this mercy again and again and again. We should have Sankirtan parties going out in every suburb of Sydney, like 12 hours a day in every suburb. No, like 50 years ago, there was a Sankirtan party going out, Harinam Sankirtan, they were going out 8 or 10 hours a day. Now we're going out 1 hour a week. So what's going on? It should be increasing, not decreasing the Sankirtan movement. Somehow we have to increase the Sankirtan movement. And because unless we go out and give this wonderful mercy to the fallen souls, how are they ever going to come to Krishna consciousness? For thousands of lifetimes they've been immersed in materialistic activities. They're so contaminated, so polluted, so hell-bent. Even though they're just like a donkey, a camel, running for water in the desert. He's seeing a mirage in the distance and he's thinking it's a body of water, but he's running, it's just a mirage. He runs and runs and eventually he dies from thirst. So people are... Tatala Shakati, the poet Srila Vichapati, said the happiness of so-called love, friendship and society in this world is like a drop of water in the desert. Like if people are dying of thirst and you come and give them one drop of water on their tongue, where's the satisfaction? But Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, this Krishna consciousness is an ever-increasing ocean of transcendental pleasure. The more we dive into it, the more we become ecstatic. And sometimes devotees go out and we're preaching and we're wondering, why don't people take to this Krishna consciousness? There's so much nectar. But I remember Indradyumna Maharaj once, he said that he came back from Sankirtan, he was with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said, "How was your Sankirtan today?" And Indradyumna Maharaj said, "Oh, it was very difficult, Srila Prabhupada, very difficult to engage the people." And Prabhupada said, "When did I ever tell you that preaching Krishna consciousness would be easy?" So we shouldn't be surprised. Nunam pramata kurate vikama yadindriya pritya aprinoti. The Bhagavatam states, 5th canto, Lord Rishabdev, when a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activity. And it's all based on this lust. That pure love for Krishna, when the living entity falls to the material world, it's transformed into lust for sense gratification, lust for material objects. And especially the greatest lust, attachment, attraction is between the male and the female. So that pure love for Krishna is like gold, but when it's transformed into lust, it's compared to be like iron. So the Bhagavatam, also Lord Rishabdev says, Pumsastri mituni bhavametam tayo mita hridya grantamaho. That the attraction between male and female is the basic principle of this material existence, on the basis of this misconception which ties together the hearts of the male and the female. One becomes more and more attached to his body, wife, children, house, possessions, family, relatives, wealth, etc. And he acts in terms of I and mine. I am the lord of this family. I am the prime minister of this country. I am the owner of this factory. I am the great demigod, Indra. Or even the cats and dogs are thinking, this is my territory. I am a dog, and this is my territory. As soon as another dog comes into his territory, woof, 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 get out. So this is like the Prophet says, the immigration department. Come to another country, they're barking, get out of here, you don't belong here. Otherwise you have to pay like $20,000 or $50,000 to come and stay in our country, isn't it? I've heard. So this is the natural progression when the living entity becomes, when the hard knot, the tight knot becomes tied within the heart, especially between the male and female, then gradually becomes more and more attached to these material objects and designations. So the devotee, as Srila Prabhupada is pointing out here, he doesn't reject anything. There's basically three types of people, Srila Prabhupada says. There's gross materialists, there's the jnanis, those who are trying to, reject everything material, and then there's the devotees who are trying to see that everything actually is spiritual, and it's all owned by Krishna, and it's all meant for his pleasure, and it's all meant to be re-engaged in his service. Srila Prabhupada says, like, if someone loses a $10 bill on the street, one person, a thief, will just come and think, that's for me, and I'll take it and use it for my sense gratification. Another person will think, it doesn't belong to me, I'm not going to touch it. So the first person is like the gross sense gratifier. Second person is like the jnani, he's rejecting everything material, thinking this is detrimental for my spiritual progress. And the third person, when he sees the $10 bill, he thinks, well, it doesn't belong to me, but I shouldn't just leave it there. It belongs to someone. Let me find the rightful owner. And he gives it back to the owner. So this is like the devotee who's seeing so many objects, so much wealth, money, and he's thinking, how can I engage these things in Krishna's service? All this money, so many material buildings, he sees, this wonderful building, let's buy it for Krishna and turn it into a temple for Krishna. There's so many material inventions like cars and aeroplanes and computers and iPads and iPhones. Let me see how I can use all these things in Krishna's service. Srila Prabhupada was a perfect example. Yukta Vairagya, engaging everything in Krishna's service. He flew in jet planes. He used typewriters, printing presses, and if he had computers, he would have used computers and mobile phones as well. So this is, as quoted here, Srila Prabhupada quotes Rupa Goswami, Anashakta Shivishayan Yataha Mubhyunjita Nibanda Krishna Sambade Yuktam Vairagi Muchite. The liberated person has no attachment for anything material or for sense gratification. He understands that everything is connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that everything should be engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, he does not give up anything. There's no question of renouncing anything because the Paramahamsa knows how to engage everything in the service of the Lord. Everything is spiritual, nothing is material. So this is the consciousness we have to be in, that everything is owned and controlled by Krishna. And the perfection of life is to engage everything we see and in Krishna's service, and every thought we should have should be how to glorify Krishna, how to think of the qualities and pastimes of Krishna, how to better serve Krishna. So we have to be internally absorbed as well as externally absorbed. So every moment we should be internally thinking, that I just want to serve Krishna 24 hours a day. Krishna is my greatest lover. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is God, like Srila Prabhupada said in one lecture. God is God, not just when he's dancing with the gopis, but God is God on the battlefield, driving the chariot for Arjuna. God is God on the lap of his mother, Mother Yashoda. God is God when he kills all the demons. God is God in speaking the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And as we hear in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states how he's represented even in many aspects of material nature. Rasoham apsa kuntaya, I'm the pure taste of water. Prabhashri sasasyoyo, I am the light of the sun and the moon. Sabdake, I am the sound and ether. Purusham rishu, I am the ability in man. So anything great like the immovable objects, Krishna says, of immovable objects, I am the Himalayas. Of beasts, I am the lion. Of aquatics, I am the shark. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in this way, devotee can see Krishna everywhere. And especially, as I was saying yesterday, Krishna is especially manifest in his deity form, in the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, the holy name, prasadam, a temple. So these are very powerful processes in which the devotees can take advantage and become very enlivened, very purified, very Krishna conscious, especially the 5 most important items of devotional service: chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Sravan, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, Maturavas, living in a holy place like these temples, Srimurti Sevaya Shraddhaya, worshipping the deity with great faith and reverence, and what's the last one? Sadhu Sangha, associating with devotees. So every day, Srila Prabhupada's created this wonderful institution where every day we can have these most 5 powerful items of devotional service to benefit us and take advantage of. And our whole lives can be surrounded by these wonderful transcendental activities. So this movement needs to be spread. It's predicted. Lord Chaitanya predicted Pritaviti Achiyata Nagaradigram. In as many towns and villages as there are on this earth, my holy name will be spread and preached. So somehow or other we have to spread this Sankirtan movement. Otherwise, as Srila Prabhupada said, the whole world is going to hell. People do not realize where they are going to in the next destination because of these sinful activities: meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. The severity of the punishment, according to the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, is very, very heavy in the next life. So we're saving people. People, they don't know, they don't realize the great benefit they're receiving from the Sankirtan movement. So somehow or other we have to go out and give out this wonderful mercy, have this causeless compassion upon our lost brothers and sisters, just like devotees somehow saved us and brought us. Even though we weren't qualified, we had no idea. Somehow devotees gave us a book, met us on the street, gave us prasadam, maybe a flower garland. Yesterday, I was just in Hyde Park, had the book table set up, and I was finding it pretty tough. And then I thought I'll do some Harinam, so I started doing some Harinam, and this Indian lady came along, and she was like chanting and dancing, and she got a Krishna book, and I just had one flower garland, Prabhupada's flower garland from yesterday that you made, and I gave it to her, and she was like just melted in ecstasy. So even if we give people a garland, so people are waiting. Many people are waiting out there to receive some wonderful mercy of this Krishna consciousness movement. They've had contact before, they've taken prasadam, they've met devotees, and we just have to meet them again and again, give them more and more chances to get purified and get attached to the devotees and get attached to devotional service. Even like years ago when I was based in Sydney, we used to go down to Melbourne and we'd do books in the Melbourne show, and like tens of thousands of people there at the Melbourne show, like goes for 10 days, Sydney show as well. And we'd go inside, sometimes it was 5 or 6 of us, we'd all line up different parts of the main road going around. And somehow the security was really slack there, and they never caught us. They never kicked us out. And we'd do hundreds of books like every day. You know, some devotees would do 200 or 300 books in a day. And we'd have the books, you know, in a secret place hiding, you know. And but Sydney show was tougher. I was like always getting caught by security and thrown out. But they would never see my books. They'd always walk me to the gate and they'd say, "You can't do this again. You can't come back," you know. And then when I used to walk into the show, I used to get an exit stamp on my wrist. And so that if they kicked me out, I'd just walk around to the other gate, the other entrance, flash my exit stamp and walk back in and go back to my books and keep working. Sometimes I get caught 2 or 3 times a day, but there was always like different securities. They didn't know I'd already been caught a couple of times before. And sometimes they'd take me down to the police station and the police would say, "No, you can't come back again today," or they'd say, "You can't come back for the rest of the show." But we'd be so bold, we'd go back the next day, you know. We just wouldn't care. For the benefit of thousands of people, we'd like push. And even for years we'd go to the Melbourne Cup. Some devotees would try books at the Melbourne Cup. It was a little tough for the gamblers, but a lot of devotees were just selling stickers, Jagannath stickers, collecting donations. But at the end, when we'd leave, I had my Hare Krishna van. It's got chant Hare Krishna signs all around it. I've had it for 25 years. It's still going. Toyota. And there wouldn't be enough taxis for all the people coming out of the horse race. So they'd be flagging down any van or car, "Oh, can you give us a lift to the city?" Because after the horse race, they'd want to go to the nightclubs and the pubs in town. So I'd say, "Yeah, jump in," you know, and they'd say, "Oh, we'll give you a donation," you know. So I'd say, "Yeah, jump in," and about 10 people would pile into the van because it's a 14-seater. And I'd get them to chant Hare Krishna all the way into Melbourne. And so they'd open the windows and they'd be yelling out Hare Krishna to all the people on the roads as we went past, you know. So they're all doing kirtan in the van, and then when they get down in town, they give me a donation, and then I give them some books, you know. So we can do books anywhere, even in Taiwan. Years ago, like there was 5 of us brahmacharis went to Taiwan, 2002, just after my spiritual master passed away, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. We went there for like a month, and it was so good for doing books in Taiwan. People really respect the monks there. We were doing hundreds of books, like huge amounts of Lakshmi every day. And at one point we thought, let's try on the trains, because the trains were packed with like sardines in Taipei. You know, it's like a city of like millions of people. The whole island is as big as Tasmania, but there's like 25 million people there. Tasmania only has 500,000. So we were doing it on the trains, and we were cleaning up so many books. But then the city train guards, they said, at one point they caught us on the platform. We were in saffron robes, and they caught us, and they couldn't speak in English, and we couldn't speak the local language, Mandarin, whatever it is. And the security man said he pointed to a sign. It looked like it was like a fine for committing an offence that we did. And it was like $1,500 or something. And we pleaded with him. We bowed down on the pavement. "Please forgive us," you know. We got someone coming through to translate for us, you know. And then the security guy let us off. And then we thought, let's try the country trains in between Taipei and the other cities. So we hopped on the country trains, and we were selling even more books there. And sometimes, flying to India, we'd try and sell books on the planes. It was a little tough going from Sydney to Singapore, because the local Australian crew on the planes, they stopped you pretty quickly. But from like Singapore to India, it was generally Indian stuff, and they wouldn't mind, you know. You just like go around the whole plane or do a Harinam up and down. Sometimes at midnight we'd be doing a Harinam, people like dozing off. We'd come around with a Harinam. So anywhere you go. Like, there's famous, I remember my parents used to listen to this famous record of Winston Churchill, I don't know if anyone heard that. Like, as kids, my parents would play this record. Winston Churchill, we'll fight them on the beaches, we'll fight them on the land, we'll fight them in the air. World War II. So he's like, we're the Sankirtan soldiers, Sankirtan army. We'll fight the conditioned souls on the trains, on the planes, in the subways, in the Melbourne Cup, in the shows, on the street, wherever, house to house. So just like the other day, they had this, the whole bridge was blocked off. I think it was on Monday, because there was a big protest, right? Hundreds of thousands of people protesting against all the people getting killed from Israel, getting killed in Palestine. And was there a Harinam there? Did a Harinam there? Yeah, nice. So these we should take advantage of these. Find out when these big events are on, and give this mercy of the Sankirtan movement to the masses of people. I remember once the bridge was, it was the 75th anniversary, 2007, 75th anniversary of opening of the bridge, and my wife at the time, just two of us, we did a Harinam across the whole bridge. We were all walking along with the people. I remember we went to, it was a U2, famous band in Melbourne. We went to the Telstra Stadium. And as all the people are walking towards the Telstra Stadium, we sat at the book table for Prasadam, Harinam, thousands of people coming past, some getting books for Prasadam, hearing the holy name. Then we all went back for the Sunday feast. Then we came back after the Sunday feast for the blowout, when thousands of people were coming out. We caught them again. So, yes, so this is the greatest welfare work for all living entities. Just we have to understand and remind ourselves that this is the best thing we can do for human society, is to spread the Sankirtan movement far and wide. The Brihat Mridanga is the greater Mridanga. People may hear the Harinam Sankirtan, 1 block away, but people get a book and they may take it, they get a book here and they take it to London and they meet a friend and they give that book to their friend and that person joins up. But not to underestimate the potency of Harinam Sankirtan. I think sometimes we underestimate the potency of Harinam Sankirtan. We think, because it's not making money for the temple, therefore we're not going out doing Harinam Sankirtan. No, but Harinam Sankirtan, it does. It makes devotees, who in turn make money, spread the movement, spread Christian consciousness all around the world. So all these wonderful, powerful preaching activities should go on simultaneously. And this way we can give people a chance, because there's no chance in this material world. Whereas the institution, even the so-called spiritual institutions, are giving people any hope, any real direction, any proper understanding whatsoever of who they are and why are they in this world, and what's their real business, and how they can fully understand the personality of Godhead Krishna and fully be immersed 24 hours a day in his service. There's no institution giving any understanding whatsoever. People don't even understand they're not this body. Krishna says in the 2nd chapter, some people look on the soul as amazing, some people hear about the soul as amazing, some people describe the soul as amazing, some people even after hearing about the soul, they cannot even understand the soul at all, because they're so contaminated. Even we try and preach the basic philosophy, still very hard for people to understand. They're so, as Prabhupada says, so thick, so dumb in Kali Yuga. But Prabhupada said, no, people criticize the devotees for being brainwashed. Prabhupada said, yes, we're washing people's brains. People don't have a brain. Before washing the brain, first we have to give them a brain. We give them a brain by the loud chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we give them a brain through their meeting Prasadam and reading this literature. And then gradually their contamination can be washed away. So we have to somehow, personally, we have to stick to Krishna consciousness, realize that this is the highest form of happiness. And if we neglect this process, yasyastra vatate, Yasyasha vimutsruja vatate kamakarita nasa siddhim avapnoti nasukam na paramagatim. He who discards these scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither happiness, nor peace, nor the supreme destination, nor perfection of life. So people, they cannot actually be happy, they cannot achieve the perfection of life, nor the supreme destination, going back to Goloka Vrindavan, to be eternally situated in loving service to Krishna, associating with all of Krishna's wonderful Nityasiddha pure devotees, unless they take to Krishna consciousness. So simultaneously, by becoming Krishna conscious ourselves, and at the same time we have to inspire the devotees and give Krishna consciousness as much as possible to others. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Prajita.
I noticed on the calendar today is the disappearance day of Sri Rupa Goswami. So could you just explain if he's impacted your life, or what do you worship him, or
Yeah, well, I fortunately got the name Rupa Rughunatha Pr. My spiritual master Tamal Krishna Maharaj very mercifully gave a very wonderful name, servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Rupa and Raghunath Goswamis. I feel I'm not very qualified at all. And that's why we shouldn't claim that, we're the servant of such personalities. We're the servant 1,000 times removed. So, of course, they're the 6 Goswamis, headed by Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Raghunath Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Bhatta Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Jiva Goswami, the 6 chief disciples and associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's largely due to them that this Sankirtan movement has gone on after Lord Chaitanya. They empowered so many other disciples to carry on the Sankirtan mission down to the present day, and many of the 6 Goswamis were prolific writers, writing transcendental literature. Rupa Goswami wrote the Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, and other books. Sanatana Goswami, the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Jiva Goswami, the most prolific writer. So they all, wrote prolifically wonderful transcendental literatures, which all these literatures are available. And I try to pray to Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Goswami to keep me fixed in Krishna consciousness, give me enthusiasm to practice my own spiritual life every day, and give me strength to try and carry out a little bit of preaching, what I can, to help spread this movement. Just reading about these great personalities, we should, especially on these days, if we can, read about these great transcendental personalities, their qualities, their pastimes, their literatures, their dedication to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we could feel great, that's my personal realization, if we do pray to them and try and surrender to their instructions. We can't imitate them, but we can follow in their footsteps. Mahajano yena katasapanta, follow in the footsteps of the great authorities. Then we feel some great strength and empowerment and purification by meditating on them, meditating on their instructions, meditating on their surrender, their level of utmost surrender, meditating on their great transcendental literatures. And Prabhupada says, my only complaint is my devotees don't read these transcendental books enough. So Prabhupada wants us regularly to read Nectar of Devotion by Rupa Goswami, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other books. These are the 4 most powerful books, but Srila Prabhupada's given us so many books. Prabhupada said we should know these books like a lawyer knows his law books back to front, so we can defeat every argument. Once Prabhupada was having a debate with Madhavisa Swami at the time, And Prabhupada said, okay, I will be the Mayavadi and you be the devotee. So Madhavisa Swami was saying, oh yeah, I'm going to defeat Prabhupada. No, Prabhupada's like preaching Mayavad philosophy. But Prabhupada defeated him with Mayavad philosophy. And so Madhavisa realized that Prabhupada, he knows not only the Vaishnava philosophy, but all the other, even the impersonal philosophies. Prabhupada is so well studied, he knows these philosophies back to front, so that he has so much knowledge and realization to defeat any bogus philosophy. And like it's said about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when the Mayavadis, when he would approach them, they would run across the other side of the street because they knew he was had this chopping technique. He could immediately smash their philosophy. They had no chance. So, Six Goswami is very great. We can pray every day. We pray. We can't directly pray and just surrender to Krishna, but we hear it's only by the mercy of Radharani that we can get the mercy of Krishna, mercy of Gopinath. And it's only by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya that we can get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Lord Chaitanya is a combination. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. He's a combination of Radha and Krishna. None other than the combination of both. But we can't get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya unless we get mercy and pray to Lord Nityananda, who's even more merciful. And we can't get the mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya unless we pray to the Six Goswamis. And we can't get their mercy unless we pray to the Parampara, the whole disciplic succession, right down to our spiritual master and all the many wonderful devotees in our movement. So, yes, so a very special day today. If you feel inspired, you can do a half-day fast or a full-day fast in honour Rupa Goswami. Of course, it's not. Is it on the calendar that we should do a half-day fast on Rupa? So it's Rupa Goswami's Parents' Day today, right? Oh, Disappearance Day. Right. Does it say half-day fast or not? Not today. So it's not compulsory. Some days, for some acharyas, there's a half-day fast. Okay. You had a question, Prabhu? Okay. Any other questions, comments, ladies? Any other Prabhus? Okay, we'll finish there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sankirtan Jagya ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol. So if anyone is free today, please get in touch with me. We could do some Sankirtan, books, Harinam, somewhere. If you have any spare hour or two in the day. And the program for Vyasa Puja starts at 3:30 this afternoon. Apparently it's the first. I was speaking to one of his disciples last night. She said that it's the first time Maharaj has had his Vyasa Puja in Sydney in the temple. Usually it's in house programs, so very nice. So more people can get the benefit of coming. In the house it's only limited groups, and the temple. And the GBC said that the spiritual master can be worshipped once a year in the temple. So it's a good opportunity in Vyasa Puja. Maharaj is anyone who knows Vedavyas Puri Maharaj, he's like such a soldier. He's like 81 in his body, 81 years in his body. And he's still travelling all around the world preaching Krishna consciousness. Amazing, opening temples and inspiring so many people to take up Krishna consciousness. Very, very great soul. Jai, His Holiness Vedavyas Puri Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi.